Hello everyone, I am Hazel Bernadette Mata and I am your reporter for Learning episode number 6. Enhancing face-to-face learning environment. To have a meaningful and successful accomplishment in this FS episode, be sure to read through the whole episode before participating and assisting in your FS2 resource teachers class. Note that all the information you will need and tasks you will need to do before working on this episode. At the end of this learning episode, I must be able to assist in the preparation of the traditional face-to-face learning environment. Enhancing face-to-face or in-person classroom environment for learning. In the face-to-face classroom, the teacher prepares activities, provides instruction, and evaluates students' learning equipment and instructional materials are made available in the classroom where teaching and learning take place most of the time. Face-to-face is an instructional method where course content and learning material are taught in person to a group of students. This allows for a live interaction between a learner and an instructor. It is the most traditional type of learning instruction. Learners benefit from a greater level of interaction with their fellow students as well. In face-to-face learning, students are held accountable for their progress at the class-specific meeting date and time. Face-to-face learning ensures a better understanding and recollection of lesson content and gives class members a chance to bond with one another. These are some of the advantages of face-to-face learning environment for students. Number 1. Less distraction and more concentration than when studying at home or elsewhere. Number 2. Greater understanding and real-world examples from teachers and classmates. Number 3. Greater chance of completing coursework by doing it in the classroom space. And number 4. Learn more easily and more comfortably in familiar traditional classroom situation. 5. More relevant information from teachers and classmates' interaction. And number 6. Greater opportunity to connect and socialize, network, and solve problems together with classmates and teacher. So for now, we're going to discuss each of the advantages of face-to-face learning environment. Number 1. Less distraction and more concentration than when studying at home or elsewhere. Distracted studying can lead to poor understanding of the concepts students are learning. In time, this can result in lower grades and feelings of frustration. Study distraction can either be internal or external. Internal study distraction includes psychological needs and emotional thoughts. External study distractions include technology and people. So when you are in face-to-face classroom, we can be more focused and learning because we can see our classmates and teachers personally. So we can have interaction with them, with the people in the classroom, and because of that, we won't get bored during the classes. Number 2. Greater understanding and real-world examples from teachers and classmates. We can explore more in face-to-face classes since we are gathered in the place called classroom. Multiple pedagogical strategies can be used to incorporate real-life examples into the classroom. So these include field experiences such as field labs or student research that can possibly be done in real-life classroom or face-to-face environment. This way also helps the students more interested and it is effective. Using a real-life connection in lesson will dramatically reduce classroom management challenges because engagement will increase. Number 3. Greater chance of completing coursework by doing in the classroom space. Because face-to-face learning have a limited time, the students need to finish their work with time frame. It will develop their time management and they will have the reason to finish the activities and exercises. Learn more easily and more comfortably in familiar traditional classroom situation. Traditional in-person classroom education enhances quick study, memorization, and retention of learning materials. School children and students are quick in their ability to memorize and retain learning materials during a traditional in-person home and school classroom education better than the way online learning does. Access more relevant information from teachers and classmates' interaction. Establishing a positive relationship with their teacher helps a student feel more comfortable and safe in their classroom environments. As a result, students are more likely to participate actively in class and challenge themselves academically. Interactions are always happening in the classroom. Teacher and the students was able to share ideas with each other. Interaction is important for many reasons. The teacher-student relationships impact productively on a student's self-esteem and enhance their skills. Students-teachers interaction are very important for the development of the student's academic self-concept and enhancing their enthusiasm and success. Greater opportunity to connect and socialize, network, and solve problems together with classmates and teacher. Regular attendance in traditional or face-to-face classes helps the students to interact with other individuals of their own age, be better disciplined, follow a regular schedule, and improve their physical fitness and mental alertness. Lastly, interactions with good teacher helps to motivate the students to achieve the higher marks. Basically, face-to-face classroom environment is essential to promote and stimulate collaborative learning. Collaborative learning increases a student's self-awareness about how other students learn and enables them to learn more easily and effectively, transforming them into the keen learners inside and beyond classroom. It also enhances their critical thinking skills. Teaching in classroom gives students the opportunity to engage in live discussion in which they are forced to use their critical thinking skills to formulate opinions or arguments. And inside the traditional classroom, students experience social interaction with peers and establish rapport with teachers. Helping children develop socially is an important aspect of solving problems and within the realm of their academic education. Here are some characteristics of face or in-person learning environment. Number 1. Learning space is physical. Both the teacher and the learner can see and hear each other from the same contained safe place called classroom. Number 2. Lessons are divided with the teacher physically facilitating reading the assignment or from textbook and other resources provided or referred. Number 3. Class meetings occur regularly on the specific time or schedule. Number 4. Teacher leads the conversation within a limited amount of time. And number 5. Assessment is done face-to-face and usually during the class meeting. So now, we will going to discuss each of the characteristics of the face-to-face or in-person learning environment. So for number 1, learning spaces physical. Both the teacher and the learner can see and hear each other from the same contained safe place called the classroom. In physical classroom, the teacher is free to move the learners around, grouping them in different ways and laying out the class in a way that will make the activities run smoothly. Face-to-face is when the teacher and the students are interacting with each other physically. Number 2. Lessons are divided with a teacher physically facilitating reading assignment or from textbook and other resources provided or referred. In face-to-face education, the teacher's main role as facilitator is to offer support and advice when needed, and to provide the necessary scaffolding and teaching of skills when necessary. Teachers can facilitate learning by making the education process easier for students. Facilitating learning involves teaching students to think critically and understand how the learning process works. Number 3. Class meetings occur regularly on a specific time or schedule. In face-to-face learning, students are held accountable for their progress at the class-specific meeting date and time. Face-to-face learning ensures a better understanding and recollection of lesson content and gives class members a chance to bond with one another. Number 4. Teacher leads the conversation within a limited amount of time. Some effective ways of reducing teacher talking time and boosting students' involvement at the same time are, for example, letting the students re-explain the lesson to each other, letting them paraphrase ideas and instructions, summarize previous lesson at the beginning of class, and ask follow-up questions. Letting them to do the conclusion, encouraging them to bring materials to the classroom. Letting them reflect on their performance will enhance their learning and help them to improve their language skills. Number 5. Assessment is done face-to-face and usually during the class meeting. Exams and quizzes are typically delivered in the face-to-face classroom during regularly scheduled class time. Students are usually monitored during the exam period, which is limited to length of meeting period. Review of assessment typically takes place during a class meeting. Here are some additional information for this topic.
Hello and welcome to Teachings in Education. Here we're going to look at some strategies for creating a positive learning environment. The first step and most important step is to create a safe environment for all students. No child should have to come to school and feel unsafe. This relates to bullying and overall school safety plans. Another important step towards building a positive environment is to have engaging lesson plans. All students deserve appropriate, challenging, and achievable work. All students and teachers should respect each other and themselves. Respect is of the utmost importance. As a teacher, don't allow your students to disrespect anyone in the classroom. The teacher-student relationship is arguably the most important component of academic success. Teachers need to get to know their students beyond academics and schoolwork. Trust and honesty go along with forming strong relationships with your students. Be honest and straightforward in giving feedback to your students. Positive learning environments revolve around supports. Teachers are in a great position to help support their students academically, socially, emotionally, and in many other ways. When decorating your classroom, consider the student's interest and background. The classroom belongs to the students just as much as it belongs to the teacher. Being a good communicator is one of the most important skills a teacher can possess. Teachers must clearly explain the rules of the classroom and objectives of the lesson. Positive classroom environments thrive on positive praise. Some students don't receive any positive praise at home. Positive praise can make a big difference in that child's life. Conflict resolution and its strategies are essential. The two parties in a conflict must come to an agreement. Now, just as negativity is contagious, so is positivity. Smile a lot in the classroom if you're a teacher. Believe me, it goes a long way. High expectations for classroom learning will not only increase academic outcomes, it will also increase your students' self-esteem and overall confidence. Young students crave discipline. Oftentimes, they don't get discipline at home. Enforcing the rules and expectations creates an orderly and fair learning environment. Teachers should do their best to get to know their students and learn about their students. Know a student's favorite TV show, sport, or their birthdays. And learning about your students leads to the next strategy, which is to use a personalized learning model. Personalized learning environments are used to create customized lesson planning. All teachers should offer extra help hours if their students are willing to show up, by showing that you care about your students and that you haven't given up on them. making positive parent phone calls can have a tremendous impact on a family. And it's really something special. It's really positive. And lastly, social and emotional learning is about teaching students to understand and manage their emotions in a positive way. Teachers should at least be aware of social emotional learning strategies in the classroom. Right now, I just want to say thank you for your time. These are some of my strategies for creating a positive learning environment.
Hello Kaguro! This video will help us review the teaching strategies we are using inside the classroom. Let's start!
A teaching strategy is the method you use to convey information to your students. There may be a particular strategy that works well with your group of students one year that won't work with your students the next year. Because of this, it's important to have lots of teaching strategies in your toolbox. Here are some of the top ideas for you to use. Number 1. Modeling. After telling students what to do, it's important to show them exactly how to do it. This will help your students who are visual learners too. Number 2. Feedback. Students don't always know if they're doing a good job without you telling them. Regularly provide written or verbal feedback for individual or group assignments. Also, it can be beneficial to turn the tables sometimes. Let the students provide you feedback to tell you how you're doing too. Number 3. Experiential learning. Students learn by doing, so create experiences for them to see the concepts in action. Let them practice the concepts in a safe environment. Then, they should reflect on the experience and discuss what they learned from it. Classroom activities that you could do for experiential learning include fun games, experiments, or simulations. Number 4. Student-led classroom. When students get to be the teacher for the day, they learn things that they wouldn't have learned otherwise. You could have students team teach or work in groups to teach a new topic. You'll find that other students will learn from their peers. Number 5. Mistakes. If you ever accidentally spelled a word wrong on the board, you know that students love to identify mistakes. When you're teaching a new skill, make an example riddle with mistakes. Let students practice the skill by identifying and fixing the mistakes for you. Number 6. Class discussion. Another way for students to teach each other is through class discussions. As students take turns discussing the subject, you can assess their knowledge and discover which student grasped the concepts and to what extent. Number 7. Cooperative learning. Students learn effectively when they're working together. Plan activities that require students to work together and learn from one another. In the process, they also learn critical thinking skills, communication skills, problem-solving skills, and more. Number 8. Inquiry-guided instruction. By asking questions and working together to solve the problems, students get to be involved in the learning process. The class can work together to determine the answer and report it. As students do the work to discover the answers on their own, they remember the concepts better and more fully. Number 9. Lesson objective transparency. Rather than letting your students figure out what they should be learning on their own, just tell them. Clearly state your lesson goals and objectives. You could announce it in class or write it on the board. Just make it simple and clear for all your students to understand. Then, they know what they're working towards and what they should know by the end of the class. This is also really helps to reduce student anxiety. Last, number 10, the graphic organizers. Graphic organizers summarize the information in a concise manner. Using a flowchart, Venn diagram, or web, students get to see the information in a new light. This helps them organize the information in their minds so they can better grasp the new concepts.
That is my report for today. Thank you for listening.